All right, that was what Bernie said in 2008. He was not running for president. That I misstated it. He ran again in 2012 and again in 2020. Well, one of the things I do want to point out here in this discussion is whether that is a fair figure, whether that is a fair share figure here. And there's a raging debate back and forth on all of this. Dick Grosso, the former New York Stock Exchange chairman on this. Dick, the argument is that it's only the very, very rich who have to bother with this, a third of the top 1%, barely perceptible, so barely any impact at all. What do you say to that?
Well, Neil, I think what was floated yesterday, and it's great to be with you, what was floated yesterday is a series of concepts that fly just about as well as a rock off the top of the Empire State Building. And I think the Biden administration is going to be surprised that they will get enormous pushback from blue state leadership. When you look at California, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and add those state taxes, the top rates for capital gains go to close to 60%. Neil, if you want to destroy this economy and destroy job creation, they've found, if you will, the golden key. I believe, a fair share is not going to be opposed by those in the class of investors that we're talking about, but a confiscatory rate. And when you add to some of the ideas that have been floated today, such as a stock transfer tax, a futures transfer tax, all you're going to do is kill job creation, push investment offshore, and you'll hurt the people that most deserve to be helped, Neil. This is really a foolish set of ideas.
So why do you think that the markets aren't reacting that way? That they're more than holding their own? That between yesterday and today, they're kind of back to where they were before all of this. And if you think about it, the cap gains hike was well telegraphed during the campaign. Maybe the whole 43.4% thing jarred people. But that 3.8% surtax to pay for Obamacare that the wealthy have been paying, that's not going anywhere. Maybe it was that figure combined that hit them, but they're still doing okay today. What do we make of that?
Well, I don't think the market is reacting to Gary's comment earlier because the market doesn't expect this to go very far. I think everyone anticipated that if Joe Biden was elected president, there would be raising of taxes, and included in that would be a capital gains raise, but not to basically double it. That's what he's talking about. People are saying it's a 20% marginal increase. That's wrong. It is a 100% increase, plus that 3.8%, plus the state overlay. States like California, New York, New Jersey that are now seeing migrations of the top, if you will, investors out of those states. They're going to be booking their flights right now. It's just a foolish proposal. People don't mind paying more taxes to help the economy grow and prosper, and particularly to help those who need help the most. But this is not that, Neil. This is almost a Venezuelan/Cuban proposal. That is, let's make the rich poor and let's assume that the poor will become rich. That's just fallacy.
We'll see what happens. It is wild. Dick Grosso, thank you very, very much.